How to answer. Tell me about yourself in a job interview by Alison Green, the Cuts Workplace Advice columnist. It's common for job interviews to open with a question that sounds simple on its surface, but which many people find difficult to answer. Tell me about yourself. Job seekers often are not sure exactly what interviewers want to know when they ask that question. Are they requesting a full history of your life? Should you include personal details like where you grew up and your family life? Or are you supposed to focus exclusively on work? And how detailed should you get? A 30-second overview that hits the highlights or something more involved? Once you understand what your interviewers is looking for, this question gets much easier to answer. So, what is the interviewer looking for? Tell me about yourself doesn't mean give me your complete history from birth until today. It doesn't even mean walk me through your work history. It means give me a brief overview of who you are as a professional. You might wonder why interviewers even ask this question. After all, they have your resume. If they have read it, they already know your professional background. And personally, I don't use this question largely for that reason. I just don't find it very useful. But interviewers who ask this question are generally looking to get a broad overview of how you see yourself as a professional by way of introduction before starting to dive more deeply into the specifics. Some, ironically, even see this question as a softball icebreaker that will help candidates relax. Little do they know. What exactly should your answer include? The specifics will differ from person to person, but generally, a strong answer will summarize where you are in your career. Note anything distinctive about how you approach your work and end with a bit about what you are looking for next. For example, one version of a good answer might sound like this. I originally got into fundraising because I really wanted to work with mission driven organizations, and I know how crucial it is to raise money to support work like yours. Pretty early on, I found that my science background was especially helpful in being able to talk with prospective donors about the work we are doing at organizations like A and B. I love being able to show donors how their gifts result directly in outcomes like C and D. And I think my ability to do that while translating the technical language into layman's terms is responsible for some of the largest donations I have raised. For example, last year I raised the single largest donation in our history by doing. I am excited about the role you have opened here because it would let me continue to use my science background while raising money for an issue I feel strongly about. That answer is short, but it hits on why you are in this field, a special skill or talent you bring to it, what resonates with you about the work, an impressive accomplishment you have had, and why you are interested in the role you are interviewing for. But don't get too tied to this format. This is one example, but there are lots of ways to phrase a brief professional overview. As long as you are giving a basic sense of what differentiates you professionally and you are not just regurgitating your resume, you should be fine. Your answer only needs to be about 1 minute long. Tell me about yourself isn't usually going to be a major part of the interview. It's the easing in that happens before you get into more nitty gritty topics. So it doesn't need to be an extensive treatise. Roughly 1 minute is a good general guideline, and 1 minute may sound very short, but it's actually pretty long when you are talking out loud. Time yourself practicing, and you will see. The sample answer above took me only 45 seconds to read out loud. That's not to say you can't go longer if your interviewer looks interested and engaged. As with any interview response, watch the cues you are getting from your interviewer and adjust accordingly. Don't drag yourself. This isn't the time to be self deprecating or disclose everything that may make you a weaker candidate, like that you were let go from your last job or have struggled to find a foothold in your field. Your answer should not sound like an aggressive sales pitch. Few interviewers want that, but you should sound enthusiastic about your career and this particular opening. Keep your focus professional, not personal. Tell me about yourself can sound like it's inviting personal details like I was raised in Tennessee but have been based in Connecticut for the last decade, or I'm really passionate about bird watching. But it's not. Keep your answer focused on your professional life, not your personal one. Some interviewers may want to know more about you as a person, but let them tell you if that's the case. It's better to wait to be explicitly invited to go in that direction that it is to volunteer a lot of personal information to an interviewer who really just wanted to hear about your career path. Practice your answer ahead of time. Whatever you do, don't try to wing your answer to this question in the moment. If you do, you are likely to ramble and not hit the key points you want to make. Instead, as part of your preparations, work out your answer ahead of time and practice your delivery. There is something about saying the actual words out loud to yourself few times in the privacy of your own living room that makes the language easier to retrieve when you're sitting in the interview chair. Good luck.